certain platform or architecture that you think, best addresses the possible snafus of hybrid cloud? I mean, is there, if a customer came to you, would go, well, go in this direction if you're doing this?
Well, I'm going to. It's kind of a softball question.
Well,
I don't want to.
Justin, you work for a certain vendor.
That's right.
And that question might tie into that vendor's products.
Yeah, I don't want to go commercial here, but we do see having a common platform across the public and private providers giving a lot of benefits to being able to extend and be seamless in addressing some of those concerns. Definitely.
David, agree. I mean, if a client came to you and said, we want to set this up, is there a certain architectural platform you would say, let's go in this direction, let's go commodity with this? I mean, what would be your first piece of advice?
My first piece of advice is tell me what problems you need to solve from a business perspective. I'm sorry, was that to me?
I'm sorry, go ahead, David.
I'm sorry, yeah, it was tell me what problems you need to solve, and then you understand the requirements and back the appropriate solutions in there. The difficulty I think that we're raising is very hard to get a homogeneous environment that's going to be hybrid based. So it's hard to find one vendor or one standard that's going to solve those problems. Certainly OpenStack and even moving into more proprietary solutions, maybe a step in that direction, but that stuff's just not a reality right now. So you're going to end up weaving together systems that are typically not designed to interoperate one to another in order to be successful in moving in that direction. I think that's just the reality of the end state of where you're looking to go. But as far as what you weave, that needs to be a wholehearted understanding of the business problems you're looking to solve. And I know that sounds like the Wilford Brimley of cloud computing in saying that, but I think that's a part of the problem that people are missing that these days.
When you said it's not a reality, I think we was talking about interoperability. What did you mean? What is not a reality?
Well, the ability for other different kinds of cloud providers, public and private, to work seamlessly together. I just think, generally speaking, that doesn't exist. And so you have to create the interoperability in between them, whether it's moving entire machines across them, or whether it's invoking each other's APIs, or whether it's moving in other more creative directions. I did a presentation a while ago on different hybrid cloud architectures that we're starting to see, and there's about 5 emerging patterns that are turning into 20 very quickly because people are trying to approach this stuff in very different ways and being creative in how you approach this stuff. But the interoperability between these various systems, private and public cloud, is not where it should be right now. It's going to get better over time, but we're just not there.
Yeah, and I might add too, I think we go through this in stages, right? I think there will be a technology interoperability phase. Then there will be, the standards that help smooth that. But then you even get into, operations challenges. That's what I focus on primarily. What VMware calls a template V app, AWS calls a machine image, OpenStack calls it an image, CloudStack calls it a template. So even having a conversation to say, we provision using templates instead of images, who knows what you're talking about? So I think a lot of people in the DevOps community and the cloud community kind of hold their nose when you talk about ITIL. But one of the things ITIL gave us was a common set of terms that we could use to even have a conversation. So I think there are technical challenges as well as operational challenges that you get when you try to go across these environments.
So what Kurt is saying is absolutely true. We're actually at a point where we're not even semantically compatible.
Right.
Yeah. If we're not, maybe there's a Google Translate app that we could use to speak the same language on this topic. I don't know.
Well, so funny story. I was moderating a panel at DevOps Days Mountain View a couple months ago, and we were talking about automated provisioning. And because of the semantic challenges, we got down to the point where there was kind of one camp that talked about provisioning using, an image, a single thing, and that was called baked. And then the other camp,
okay,
like a cake.
Right.
The other camp talked about pulling pieces together and building a release and then provisioning that, and that was called fried. So kind of like stir fry. So we had the baked folks and the fried folks, and it for an hour conversation we had to use those terms just so we could talk.
Huh. And the interoperability is it there? I mean, it's a lot of different pieces coming together. Do they fit together?
Look, this is an age-old canard, right? I mean, we have always tried to advocate for simplicity, for standardization, for homogeneity. But anyone who's walked into an enterprise IT shop knows that's never going to happen. It'd be nice, it'd be great if we could standardize on one platform, one set of terms would be a nice start. But I believe we're always going to have heterogeneity. So the solution is going to be about integration and connection and automation, right? It's about orchestrating these different moving parts. Having the right platform, like David says, what's your business need? Choose the technology that's going to help deliver that. And having the right platform, the right cloud provider, internally and externally, that's going to help you achieve the specific objectives, and then working on the integration, the automation, the orchestration tools and capabilities, as well as the people process side of it, obviously, that's going to help you interconnect and interoperate. I don't think there's going to be one winner of these cloud stack wars. We're seeing a lot of different cloud stacks happening. You know, I mean, SARE Technology is in the fortunate position of being sort of the Switzerland of software, where we don't care who wins, we work with all comers. But that's sort of our perspective, is that it's about this need to work together, because we're always going to have heterogeneous cloud, just like we've always had heterogeneous virtualization, heterogeneous operating systems, heterogeneous databases, heterogeneous middleware. It's just the way of the world.
Yeah, I think that absolutely is right, and I think the hotter areas in cloud growth over the next couple of years are going to be the middleware, are going to be the governance, are going to be common management layers and security. I mean, if you look at just in the governance space, I mean, Layer 7 went to CA, and it was a great company for them to buy, and I think that's going to be a huge growth area going forward. And some of the hotter companies out there, such as Service Mesh, are certainly making a difference in how people are implementing things. At Mashery, I mean, the list goes on in terms of kind of the focusing from the larger cloud players out there, which are kind of settling in right now and taking their dominant role. And then all the other tools and technologies we need to make the larger cloud players and the private cloud players and all the other things kind of work and play well together. And that seems to be the focus now, and I think that's a healthy focus on acquisitions as well as strategy, as well as kind of understanding the architecture within the enterprises who are deploying cloud.
Yeah, the challenge with that, and I agree with you, David, the challenge is that a lot of these vendors have a vested interest in making it hard to switch. So I think there's this has been an issue in the IT industry as long as I've been in it, but the vendors want to create stickiness, and in general, customers want to have flexibility and choice. So we'll always have to deal with that kind of mixed set of incentives.
Yeah, and I think they're not going to change their behavior. I think the stickiness is going to maintain. That's what companies do. They want people to use their stuff. And I think we're just going to get really, really good at building technology and focusing on making things interoperate by extracting the interface complexities between the various systems. And that seems to be the pattern of attack right now, at least at the beginning of it. And I think that's a healthy pattern.